2024 was a very exciting year both in my personal life and my art journey. But this year was a little bit different than all the other years, but it didn't really go as planned. So let's just take a look at how it went, the things that I learned from it, and what I'm gonna do for 2025. So first of all, when 2024 started, I really had this really goal that I want to try and make money with my art. So, I've tried the online shop and it didn't really go as planned. So what I decided to do is to try and do Artist Alley. So I signed up for Edmonton Fan Expo to try and sell my art there. And, because I signed up for that, I really had to focus on creating a lot of pieces, a lot of art pieces, finished pieces that I can, present and sell. So that was really my focus mostly throughout the year to try and do that. So obviously I had to print my art, and it's really amazing to just print your art. As digital artists, a lot of times we only see our art on the computer and we don't really print them. But I really encourage you, even if you don't want to sell it, to just print a few. And it's just really nice to see your art printed in a piece of paper, physical, and you can take a look at it. And this was really good. And for the year, I really did two events. I did, as I mentioned, Edmonton Fan Expo, and I did Anieg. So these are two events that were based in Edmonton locally. So I participated in them in Artist Alley, but I didn't really sell much. So I didn't really make that much money. I barely made enough money to cover the cost of the table, but it was really fun and it was really great experience to do that. So after I did the events, it made me start thinking on why didn't I sell much, So I started thinking and look at my art, and I realized that, I need to have more pieces that have that people can relate to, that have a little bit more story or have multiple characters in them. A lot of my pieces were just one character. It was just a portrait, for example, a lot of portraits of characters of fan art, and people don't really relate to them as much because they're just portraits, and they would rather pay the money to buy something that has a little bit more of a environment, scene, or story or something like that, or multiple characters in it. So I think that was one of the learnings, was to try and make things that people can relate to a little bit more and people are willing to buy a little bit more. And I was thinking about myself, like, what are the things that I bought? And I realized, there's more of a scene, more of a setup, more of a storyline into the painting rather than just one simple character in the painting. And because I was really focused on this thing a lot, and this year was, as I mentioned, it was an exciting year in my personal life as we welcomed our first boy. So my time was a little bit limited. So I can only spend that time on creating these finished pieces for these Artist Alleys because I had already committed to them. So I didn't really have enough time to practice, learn, and improve. So this year, actually, I think although I created some nice rendered finished illustrations and paintings, my improvement, I think, was very limited and slow compared to all the other years that I have painted. So really, I've learned this year that, I need to find that balance. I need to figure out how can I find the balance between learning and improving, put time on for studying and also put time to do illustrations and finish pieces that are complete and nice and really good to look at, rather than just all practice. In the past, I used to do a lot of just practice. And this year I was really just focused on trying to do finished paintings and illustrations. But I think going into 2025, I need to learn to find the balance between the two so that I can improve and at the same time create some nice finished painting. So what is really coming up for 2025? So I think I'm going to try to do more Artist Alley. So I've already committed and re-signed for Edmonton Fan Expo. So I'm going to be doing that one again and really try and take my learnings into that. And I'm trying to sign up for a few more, but I haven't had any confirmations yet. So I'm hoping to do a few Artist Alleys this year as well, to just expand from last year and learn from last year and try and implement all of those learnings. And as I mentioned, try to do a lot of finished paintings that people can relate to a little bit more. And one of the things that I want to do this year is, Arcane just came out, and me and many other artists were really influenced by it. So I think I want to try and do a few more Arcane pieces to try and see if maybe I can sell those in the artist alleys. So stay tuned and see what paintings I can create for those. Then the other thing that I mentioned is to try and learn more. So how am I gonna do that? Life is still busy. It's not really, I don't have that much time. So how can I really find more time to do that? And I think I figured out a way is to try and, use a sketchbook. I've ignored a sketchbook for the longest time, and everything has been on digital. So I would come to the computer, set it up. I have to go to my office or my area where I have my computer and tablet and start drawing there. And sometimes that really means, trying to commit a certain amount of time. But I think a sketchbook, I can have it ready and just do smaller batches of time. Even if I can do 15 minutes at a time, those little amounts of practice will add up. So that's something that I'm going to do, try and just use my sketchbook a lot more and try and really make that a habit of trying to fill up the sketchbook with just drawings. I feel like in the past, I have improved a lot on the digital painting skills, but my, basic skills of drawing are not as good as they need to be. So one thing that I've done to do that is I also signed up for Proco's drawing basics course. Even though I've been drawing for a few years now and, my paintings may seem to not be very basic, but I think my basic fundamentals are lacking. So I'm doing that now, and I've just started it to try and, learn a little bit more about drawing itself, and, it strengthened my basics and my fundamentals of just sketching, learn more about perspective and try and focus on that. And hopefully when I improve that skill and that part of my, my journey or my art, then I can create better pieces as well. So I really wanted to make this video for, the main reason was to show that, we don't always achieve our goals that we want. I had a certain amount of goals that I had set, and this year didn't really go as planned. And I think that's okay. But even though I didn't achieve my goals, I think this year was amazing throughout my art journey. I've tried different things, tried to do an artist alley, and just experiencing that and learning from that was just fantastic. And I'm hoping that if you're watching this and you thought that 2024 didn't go as planned, and you didn't achieve your goals or you didn't improve as much, then that's okay. It's time to reflect, see what can we do, what can we change, and try and implement that. And I try and do this regularly. I don't really wait all the way till the end of the year to do this, but it's a good time. New year, new beginnings. It's a good time to do this reflection, but it's good to do it even more often. So if you didn't achieve your goals, I hope you're not discouraged. There's always time, and remember that art really takes time and patience, and it's really a journey, and we can't just take shortcuts. Now, if you want to improve your art and learn drawing skills a little bit more, you can watch this video where I go through the main things that you need to do if you want to improve the fastest.